survival, brown survival, yellow survival, red survival, white survival, Semitic survival, the survival of the human race. We are constantly threatened with war. We all have our scars, and we all seek to have a place. War is not the only horror. It is not the only source of pain. Sometimes it is a lack of sunshine. Sometimes the lack of rain. Droughts, famine, earthquakes have devastated many a people. Storms, cyclones, hurricanes have wrecked cities, towns, and steeples. Black survival, like other forms of survival, is a constant struggle against nature and man. But when the calamities occur and things are not like they were, we always come up with a plan. Black survival is not anti-yellow survival or anti-white survival, nor against the survival of any part of the human family. But it definitely concerns the black race and have it take its rightful place with the other segments of humanity. Black survival calls for a black revival whenever a segment is in distress. We must pool our resources, channel our efforts, and answer the call, doing our very best.
show that we are not afraid to lend a helping hand here and now. Oh, what a wonderful world this would be if there were no crises or poverty here and now. But the world is not quiet and serene. In fact, it can be awful mean, especially if you can't help yourself here and now. You'd be left to others' whims and caprice and suffer with them in wars and peace. After satisfying their fancy, they will leave you what is left here and now. Black survival demands scientific observation of the first law of nature, which is self-preservation of the black nation here and now. Let black people pull together in all crises, circumstances, or weather, here and now.
story. Sahel, site of many kingdoms and nations. Sahel, birthplace of many progressive and scientific quotations. Sahel, monument worth saving.
No rain, wells drying up, some pain. Maybe next year it will be better. The crisis. No riverbed silk, no food. Cattle getting sick, bad mood. Maybe next year it will be better. The crisis. Erosion setting in. Can't plant. Cattle began to die. New slant. Maybe next year it will be better. The crisis. People began to die. Cause wept. Society breaks up. Needs help. Maybe next year it will be better. The crisis. Refuge camp forms, swallow dens, mass starvation occurs. Few friends. Maybe next year it will be better. 5 long years this drought has lasted, causing suffering, death, and disorganization. Over 25 million people.
How can a catastrophe like this happen in Africa?
What do you mean? A catastrophe can happen anywhere. Have you heard of the Arab-Israeli conflict, or the Bangladesh crisis, or the situation at Managua, Nicaragua?
Yeah, I know about those people in those places. the richest continent on Earth, with over half the world's gold, over 90% of its diamonds, lithium, uranium, cobalt, rubber, and all that wealth.
It is true that Africa is the richest continent, but the Sahel area is poor.
What do you mean poor? How could it be poor among all those riches? Run it down to me, Noah, black brother, run it down.
Hold it, black sister. I'll run it down. First of all, this is mainly the desert region of Africa above the equator. The equator spans Africa almost at its center, geographically speaking, where the sun most direct rays hit the earth in a circular manner. It's the equator. On the equator, you'll find a better quality and abundance of life, animal and plants, rainforests. Further you get away from the equator, north or south, you leave the rainforests and into the savannah, and beyond the savannah, the desert.
You mean Africa has 2 deserts?
Yes, the Sahara in the north and the Kalahari in the south. The Sahara is known as the giant desert, and the Kalahari, the baby. The Sahel is the name of the area on the southern border of the Sahara Desert.
What has that got to do with Africa letting this catastrophe get so alarming?
Cool it, black sister. You said run it, I'm running it. Secondly, the Sahel area has a particular poor climate. The condition, a mild distribution and small quantity of rain. Thirdly, the inhabitants are mainly nomads, herdsmen, and the farmers whose lives are highly dependent upon the water. For the last 5 years, there was no rain. The river and the lake shrunk. The wells ran dry. The water holes dried up. The people, being highly religious and contribute most occurrence in life as the will of God, Allah, and they accept these conditions as the will of some supernatural power and mainly leave it up to that supernatural to solve the issue.
How horrible! How many countries are in the Sahel? How many people are involved?
Generally, 6, but Ethiopia and the Sudan as equally, if not more, affected. In general, they are referring to 1, Mauritania, 2, Niger, 3, Senegal, 4, Upper Volta, 5, Mali, 6, Chad. Some say 10 million, and others say over 25 million people's lives are threatened by the Sahel crisis.
25 million people? You mean to tell me they can't help themselves? What's wrong with them? They all can't be poor.
Cool it, black sister, and I'll run it a little further. Previously, I mentioned a fatalistic view of the future held by many people in the area, which runs counter to the modern and logical concept of looking to the future and planning to meet the predictable consequences. The other African countries are also poor, and most are suffering from the effect of neo-colonists' experience. Political, but not economically independent. They just emerged from European colonialism in the 60s. The colonists who exploited the Sahel for over 200 years never worried about the future of the land of the people. They sought cash crops for export and profit, rather than food crops, which they are in short supply. They cut down the trees, overworked the soil, and erode, causing a lot of trees, farm and grazing land. However, and in spite of their so-called colonial status, the Africans did respond. The heads of states of the Sahel countries, Farm and Interstate Sahel Control Board, and others gave aid to their kingdoms, collectively through the OAU. And some gave individual aid, one of $1 million.
How would you sum it all up, knowing black brother?
a disastrous climatic situation accompanied by a bad economic condition suffered by the inhabitants in the Sahel in particular, and black Africa in general.
What's being done to solve the problem?
That takes us to something else, relief.
Relief! At last help began to arrive, averting instant death, bringing plans to survive. Relief! Aid come from many sources, even from across the seas. Humanitarians everywhere study the recourses and hear the Sahelian plea. Relief! First came food, medicine, clothing, and assist their immediate needs. Then came study of the long-range problems, calling for dams, irrigation, tractors, trucks, fertilizer, and seed. Relief! The needs are vast, and the responses were great, an example of pure brotherhood. But the problem remains and will happen again unless we don't do what we should. Relief! Humanitarians from Africa, Asia, Australia, and the USA answer the call, one and all, in their own way, under their own sway. Relief! The OAU, the UN, the European Common Market, the Arab League, and the Communists too, along with the Baptists, Catholics, Methodists, Muslims, all came through and gave their due. Relief! Push, RAIN, the National Association of Black Social Workers, AFRAIN, and many other organizations among the blacks in the West heard their kinsmen plead, pledged to see what must be by doing their very best. Relief! There's one group that heard its kinsmen plead and truly felt their grief. That is the organization that is sponsoring this affair, and one who really cares, the Universal African Relief.
Humanitarians of every race have always emerged to show their face, to help people in distress. It cut across racial and national lines in assisting people to better times whenever given the test. The bulk of the help must come from within before you look to your friend to do for you what you should do for yourself. It has always been that way, and it must be so today, unless you are blind, mute, and deaf. Black man, brown man, yellow man, red man, white man, Semite, or what have you, each has a place in this world. Each has a land to call his own. Each has a plan to be alone. Each must make a stand or be gone. And in a hurry, if mentally dull. Humanity is stronger than inhumanity, or we all would have long been gone.